Hello and welcome to this video. I asked which topics do you want me to talk about, and most of you answered data analysis with Python. Your wish is my command. No, it's not, I'm kidding. But I decided to go through some of the websites which provide a lot of great data sets, and so that we could analyze those data sets and learn together. So every time that I release a video on data analysis now, it would be on a certain topic. We'll learn to do certain things using Pandas. Now, this website that I'm going to use now is one of the official US government websites called data.gov. And if you go to that website and go for the data, you would see a list of 255,000 data sets. That is amazing. This is like a very rich place to learn and practice data analysis. Now, I haven't done any analyses of any of these, but I just looked at this one, the second one, and I found it interesting. So it's a list of failed banks. You can either download the CSV or let's just take a look at the HTML version for now. Now here, it says since 2000, and I realize that it's up to 2023, well, May. So it is amazing. That's quite a long period of time. And if you look at the data set, it looks like this. You can see the bank name here, city, state, I think it's, I don't know, certificate or whatever it is, doesn't matter. Then the institution that acquired that bank after it failed, and closing date and fund. So I thought maybe we can get rid of these cert and fund columns. So we'll learn how to drop columns, and also try to see first which cities has had the most failed banks in them, which states had the most failed banks in them, which institutions acquired the most failed banks, and now dates. And this is something challenging for a lot of people. So we will learn how to convert this into date time and then try to group them based on date and draw a line graph so we know which years most of these banks were closed. That's very interesting. So instead of downloading this, I just go over it and right click, and I want to copy link address because you can see down here it's CSV file, the link. So I just copy this, and now I'm using Google Colab. It's empty, as you can see. The first thing I need to do is I'm going to import Pandas and give it an alias or a nickname, which is by convention PD. Then I'm also going to import a matplotlib.pyplot, and I'm going to import it as PLT. This is another conventional name. Let's just import them. The first thing you do is to read that CSV and put it into a Python Pandas data frame, which is like a CSV. So I'm just going to assign it to a df variable, which is also a common name. And we use the PD or Pandas method, which is read underscore CSV. What is that CSV? If you had it already downloaded in this directory, it would just mention the name here, like example.csv. But for us, it comes from an online source, and you can see the ending is in CSV, so it should work. Now, this is how we are going to put all the CSV inside a data frame. As I said, I haven't analyzed this before, so okay, that is the first issue. So UTF codec cannot decode this. Okay, so we need to add an encoding here. After this, let's just add another argument, which is encoding, and the encoding that can work here would be Latin 1. So if I run this by Shift Enter, okay, no errors, perfect. Now let's check the first 5 rows of that df or data frame by df.head method, and you can see we have bank name, city, and all that. Perfect. So I said that we need to get rid of the cert and fund. We don't need them. How do we drop columns in Pandas? Easy. Let's just say df is equal to df.drop. So we are going to drop the columns, and put them inside a list. And the first one is cert, and the second one is fund, right? And let's also specify the axis, which is comes from a column. So axis is 1. Now, when we do this, we save this new modified version into the df, which is going to override this one. So df would be without these columns. Hopefully everything will go well. Let's see, let's run this. Okay, oh, oops. Well, so cert not found. Let's see if we've spelled this correctly. Cert, yes, uppercase C, and yes, it is correct, but there must be something wrong, obviously. So let's see what went wrong. I'm just going to print out the columns to see if something is wrong, and let's see. And oh yes, there is. You can see there is a trailing or following white space after each. So it's not like this, it should be like this actually. So that makes a difference. So because I'm going to use these names later, I can actually get rid of this white space using the string method strip in Python. So let's just create another code block here, and let's say df.columns, these columns that you just saw. I'm going to say, okay, let's apply something, df.columns dot, so these columns now, I'm going to do something to them, and that will be a string method. What is that one? Oops, not method, strip. So it's a method that I'm going to apply to these names, and then I will save the corrected version inside, well, the columns. So these will be the same names but without these spaces. Okay, and after that, let's just print out the columns to make sure everything okay. And perfect, you see now there is no white space there. All right, so hopefully now we'll be able to drop them without an issue. And oh, okay. Now the thing is, now df.columns, this one had this space. Okay, now perfect, everything's good. So let's just print out the first 5 rows by df.head, and you can see, great, it is that column of cert and fund are not there anymore. All right, so now that we have city and state and this and all that, what we can do is we can see which city has experienced the most bank failures. How do we do that? We have a data frame. We are going to look into the city column, and we're going to count the values. So value counts. And now if I run this, you see we're going to have all the values and count how many times they have appeared. So you can see Chicago 20 times, Atlanta 10 times. So these are the cities with the most bank failures. If I want to have the first 5, I can simply add .head, and I get the first 5. I can do the same thing with the state, or this one, I guess it's more interesting actually. So let's have it here and run. And now you can see no acquirer. Okay, poor people. State Bank and Trust Company has acquired 12. First Citizens Bank and Trust Company has acquired 11. Emirates Bank 10, and US Bank 9 of them. All right, so these are the ones that acquired the most. Okay, now comes the interesting part, which is about the closing date. So first, I can see that the date is a bit, let me check the data types first to make sure everything is okay. So D types, and if I take a look, you can see all of them are objects. Even the closing date is an object. So it's just a string. I would like to turn this closing date data type into a datetime data type, because only then I'm able to apply some of the functions that I can use for arranging the year and all those things. Okay, so let's do that now. I'm going to say df, and it is closing, yes, as you can see, and this one here. And now I can say that is equal to, because I'm going to change this, so I'm going to say pd actually, from pandas. I'm going to use date to datetime 2 underscore. Come on, give me something, suggest. Nothing. Okay, so I'm gonna start. Oh, that's 0, not an O. That's why. To date time. Oh yeah, finally. To date time. And which column? This is the column. Yes. So I'm going to change this to date time. Now let's just run this. And now if I run this data types again, look from object, it should change to date time. Awesome. Okay. So now let's run this here just to show you the difference. You can see here that we have 1st of May, but here we have again 1st of May, but of course in a different format. So now this is date time. Great. But why did I do that? Because I want to draw a line, like a line graph that goes up and down, right? Depending on the year and how many times something has happened in, for example, 2023. So I'm going to get the size of 2023, irrespective of the day or the month. So I'm going to see how many times 2023 have been repeated and how many times 2020. So I'm just going to check the counts of failures by year. So that is something that I'm going to do. So I have to group them by year, actually. Okay, so how do we do that? Let's have like a variable of y counts for a yearly count or something. And I'm going to say df group by. So I'm going to group that data frame by the closing date. So that would be df, yes, closing date. Oops. And I'm not interested in the month or days. So I'm going to specify the year. So I would say dt.year. This gives me like the year. So I'm going to group them by year. And then this is the important part. I'm going to get the size. So this makes sure that I get the number of those what do you call that? Those failures in the year. So I'm going to make sure that I get how many times something has happened in 2023. How many times banks have failed in 2022 or 2021. So now I have this number. So I just need to connect them together to make a line graph now. Okay, so that is, let me run this to see everything okay. Yes. Okay, now we get to the line graph part. So I would say this y counts that we got, I'm going to plot it. What is the kind of the plot? It is kind is equal to, it's not bar, it is line. And let's just give it also a color, I don't know, green, for example. Now we need to specify the X label and the Y label. So X label would be the horizontal axis. What is it going to be? It's going to be the years, obviously. And then the vertical would be the number of times that banks have failed in that year, right? So I'm going to say plt, that we imported from matplotlib pyplot, plt.x label is going to be called the year. And the Y label would be, let's say just count, whatever. And this is going to be a Y label. So this is just a title of those axes or labels, actually. And the one before the last is going to be plt.title. So let's say it's going to be I don't know, banks failed yeah, per year, something like that. Banks failed per year. And the last one, we're going to show that by plt.show. Yeah, I think that should work. So I'm going to run this. And oh, look at this. Oh, wow. This is amazing. So you can see around 2002, yeah, things kind of increased a bit, this number of failed banks, but all of a sudden the number skyrocketed here around 2007 and then plummeted again. Well, thankfully, around 2015, and that has been kept low throughout, yeah, until now. So this is the period that a lot of banks failed, especially around 2010. A lot of them failed. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay, so that is what this video was about. I hope you learned something. Please share with me what is that you learned, and if you have any idea, suggestion, let me know. So this is how I'm going to be going through data analysis with Pandas. Of course, I will do also a lot of text analyses later in other videos as well. I hope you liked the video. Thank you very much for watching and listening.